Good morning, happy Thursday. It's 10:30 and here we are again for our regular weekly chat. So I've just been playing around with the blind because it's obviously not as sunny today, but the sun it's still pretty bright. But as soon as I go live, I look at my hair and think, oh, when are the hairdressers opening again? It's supposed to be soon, isn't it? I've tried myself, I've done my hair, I've trimmed my fringe, and I've tried like a box set of highlights. I've done it once and I don't want to keep doing it because I know I'm making such a mess of my hair that my hairdresser's going to have a right job sorting it out. So I don't want to do it again. Like, the end of this is in sight when I know that they're going to be so booked up with all these people that have been sort of struggling on. It's not so bad when you've got long hair, is it? You can tie it up, but I've seen some pictures of people like women shaving all the back of their hair and they've just kind of gone mad with it because it's just irritated them so much. But yeah, we're all getting a bit inventive, aren't we? I don't think mine's been down in about 3 months. So yeah, it's all a bit interesting, isn't it? So yeah, first world problems. There's more to life than hair, but it's good to feel good about yourself, and it makes us feel better, doesn't it? So hence, I've put a bit of lipstick on today, so I just feel like a little bit better. So today we are incorporating one of my last walk the talk sessions with today's coffee chat, and we're talking about selling comfortably. My youngest is crying outside my door, so I should probably go. Oh, it's okay, Dad's got him. He may not stop. That's the worry. Is he going to stop? Yeah, he's hurt himself. He'll be fine. Dad's got him. Okay, so we're incorporating walk the talk with our coffee chat this week. And this is our last but one. I think I've got one more of the walk the talk to share with you tomorrow. Yes, I have, which is around creating your offer, which is interesting because that is one of the elements within today. So today we're talking about selling and being able to sell comfortably. Now, selling invokes all sorts of emotions in us. So when people say, you know, I'm a salesperson, or what do you do? Well, I sell this, I sell the other. Then it can start some emotions in us which are normally influenced by an experience we've had which felt negative. So we might have been sold to and we didn't feel we wanted to buy that thing. We might have felt the pressure, and it sort of influences how we feel because we then don't want to be the person that makes somebody else feel the way that we did. We don't want to put someone in that circumstance. So it sort of puts us off, and then we get all apologetic about our attempts at selling, and it just sort of, in a way, it's worse because hitting a sale with a assertive, positive mindset is a million times better than attempting to sort of be slightly apologetic and it's like trying to sort of comfort somebody when your heart's not in it, and you know, frankly, they're not going to be behind it either. So being able to sell with a confidence and be comfortable selling is a really valuable tool to learn. And now, you know, when my clients come to me, some of them may have just started, so they might have had a client, they might have got a client, but it might have been a referral or a friend of a friend or somebody that they perhaps were already in contact with. It's not a total stranger in a lot of cases. So when they start to take their message to the world, they're going to get to the point where they need to sell. So this is something which I'm quite overt about, and we talk about quite early on in the process. So the first step for me, there are 4. I'm going to talk you through 4, and obviously offer creation is one of them, which we'll go into a lot more detail about tomorrow. So there's 4 steps, and these come in, let's be clear, these come in way before you get into the sales sort of event, as I call it. So a sales event is that moment when you might be face to face with someone, you might be over a Zoom call, you might be on the phone with them, you might be interacting over a messenger or an email process, but you're going to have to kind of cut to the chase, get to the point, and give them a nudge as to whether or not they're buying. Because let's not forget, there's been a whole process that they've been part of before all of this, so that actually the end conversation where you bring them to a decision and you agree that it's right for both of you and you're both happy to do that transaction, that's just that final little nudge over the line. So I don't want people to sort of approach going, oh, I'm selling, as being like this sort of short event of quick, you suddenly switch on your salesperson and there you go, you sell. You're actually, when you work for yourself, you're selling pretty much all the time. You're selling something, you should be certainly marketing, and then ultimately moving people to the sale. So the first step in this process is stepping into your superpower. Now, everybody has one, and this is a big part of the challenge that I'm running in a couple of weeks' time, that we talk about the fact that everybody has something already. You've got a skill, you've got a passion for something, you've got a whole heap of knowledge about something already, and you can use that as your strength, as your superpower, without going off and doing retraining, without trying to reinvent yourself to be something you're already not. You as you, sat there right now, have a superpower, and really understanding and living that and being really totally comfortable with it is the first step of your sales process. Because if you're not sat saying, yes, I know I have the ability to help, I have the power to help somebody, unless you believe it, then you're going to end up approaching yourself as being that sort of slightly apologetic, well, I think I might be able to help, but let's wait and see. That feels totally different to, I have an absolute skill, I have an expertise in this area, I know that I can help you to achieve this, this and this. So you've got to be it, you've got to believe it. And I say these things as though, well, there you go, I've told you, now you're gonna know it, you're gonna be able to do that, and you're not. So don't go, oh yeah, it's all very well for you to say, it's easier said than done. It is easier said than done. And actually sitting in that position of being totally comfortable in yourself takes time. So if it doesn't just come naturally, Patricia, hi, lovely to see you live. If that superpower and stepping into that superpower doesn't come naturally to you, and you feel a little bit like, yes, but I don't feel like an expert in this, and well, who am I to sit here and tell people that I can help them? Who am I to imply that I'm an expert in that? Then that's what needs some work, because if you're working on that, then you're increasing your confidence. So when you are in that position with a potential client and you're talking about how you can help them and what it is you do, it comes across already as you knowing that as long as they're right for you, you're right for them, you're going to be able to help them. And this doesn't matter, by the way, what it is you sell, what it is your business is. I sat for years selling things on behalf of an organisation, and I had lots of mixed emotions about different products, let's call them, products and services that I was being asked to take to a customer. And there was one particular service that I really didn't sort of stand by, and we were quite highly targeted on introducing this to our customers. And I had quite a heated discussion, so shall we say, with my manager at the time, to say, I'm not ready to position that into my customer because I don't think it's right for them, and I don't think they're ready to buy that. So if I position it to them now, I'm going to lose my credibility. And exactly the same is true with any client that you're in front of. I would hate for you to take this away and go, oh, well, I just go out and sell to everybody. Unless you are genuinely of the view that you can help that person, your product can help that person, your service can help that person, then you shouldn't push and push, because on a very basic level, that's pretty unethical, because you'll be taking that person's money and then not delivering the thing that's going to help them. But also, it's not beneficial to either of you in the long run. You're not going to get them as a return client. They're not going to feel great about you. You won't get any referrals, recommendations, a good testimonial, all of that stuff, and you won't help them. So being confident in what you're going to provide. Now, if it's a physical thing, so let's say you make cakes or things for celebrations, the joy that can bring, and that actually for the majority of people that is going to deliver the joy. But if they've asked you for something, so say they're commissioning you for a special job, and you're a bit like, yeah, I've not done anything to that level, but I'm sure it's great. If you're not totally confident in your superpower in that particular area, then surely it's much stronger position to take, to say, do you know what? Here's a load of the stuff I've already done. I've not done what you're asking me to do before, so I'm not sure it's right. And actually walking away from some sales are the most powerful thing that you can do, because what it says, what message that gives to all the other people who are potentially your right clients, is that you know what your superpower is. You are totally owning that superpower. You're not going to kind of water it down and go, oh, well, do you know what? Yeah, I'll give that a go. I'll give it my best shot. But you'll go into that thinking, well, this is going to be a little bit of a bodge, to be honest. You are going to go into everything that you do, everything that you provide in a really confident, totally owning it mentality, and your potential clients are always going to feel that much, much stronger. So your first step in your sale is your superpower. It's knowing it, it's stepping into it, it's living it, it's breathing it, and it's being able to say no if something doesn't fit with what you do. So that's your first one. Your second step to your sale is your ideal client. Now, this piece of work is a big part of what I coach, and this forms the foundation for both your marketing and then your sales. So this is massive. So I can't for a minute begin to tell you all the detail that we could and probably should go into when you talk about your ideal client. But let me just explain the principle behind why it's important to understand who it is you want to talk to. So I thought when I first started my coaching business, if I offer lots of different services, there's two people on live, say hi, don't hide, please interact with me, tell me you're here. And if this is making sense, give me a thumbs up. It's always good to hear. So I thought when I first started my business, if I offered a service to loads of people and I'd be able to help lots of different people in lots of different ways, then, you know, look at the size of my potential market, it would be huge. So surely I'm going to be able to find somebody in there that is going to want to pay me. Fiona, hi, lovely to see you. And actually, that was what I sort of pursued for probably the first few weeks and months of my coaching attempts, let's call it, because honestly, it wasn't great. What I found that I was getting some interest and I was getting a few inquiries, but it was that old phrase of I was trying to be a jack of all trades, but then actually what people want is somebody that's an expert in less, more narrow area. And also I had no idea who I was wanting to talk to, so I couldn't make a connection with them. I couldn't talk to them as though I'm talking to you now. I couldn't really relate to them, and therefore everything that I was producing in terms of this is what I do, it was all just a bit a bit fluffy and a bit vanilla. And yeah, vanilla isn't Magnolia, that's the other great, Magnolia, it's like, well, whatever, it's not going to offend, but it's not going to light you up either. And actually learning that identifying your ideal client is really where the gold lies. That transformed how I could target, how I could market, and it kind of took the pressure off, because rather than trying to produce loads of different things for loads of different people, I could literally just focus on one type of person that I want to work with, and it suddenly became a lot more simple. So the way that I describe it, and as I say, I'm trying to skim this over to get the other points in today, is that imagine that you've got a room full of people. So it's huge, it's like a stadium, it's massive, and you've got loads and loads of people in there. There's lots of common elements that they have between themselves. So what you're going to ask them to do is line up in relation to their common trait, let's call it. So it could be that these people really like sport. It could be that these people are parents. It could be that you're going to split between men and women. So you sort of segregate them all off. And then what you effectively say is, okay, so I'm not a sporty person. So if those people kind of live and breathe sport in their life, they're not for me. So you're going to ask them to go. And you kind of do that with each category, so that you start bringing them together and you make one line, so that all those people have got similar traits, they have similar interests, they all have a common, I don't want to say problem, but a common issue, a common concern that what you do will help them with. Now, once you've got them all in that line, there's still, let me be clear, hundreds of thousands of them, because you're taking your business online. So let's not forget, you can touch billions of people if you do this right. So this line is huge, but you've just got one person at the front, and they've got so much in common. You only need to talk to that one person in the front, because they're going to then pass the message on to the next person who totally goes, oh yeah, absolutely, I've got that concern, yeah, I've got that issue. Oh, I'm going to totally magnetize myself towards Sarah because she deals with that. I think she can help me. I can get some really good information from that. I'm going to keep following her, and I'm going to keep listening to what she says, and and then when she comes up with something that I might be interested in, I already know her, I already connect with her, and she's already been talking to me. Now, when you first start doing this, it feels counterintuitive, and I totally get that, because as I said, when I started, it was like, keep it as broad as possible because there's going to be loads of potential customers out there. So when you do this and this and this, it feels as though you're excluding potential people, but you're not. You're trying. Ultimately, the goal of this, and this is really where the trick with good marketing comes in. The trick with this is that you're trying to connect with people on an emotional level, and who can do that with a room full? Now, okay, there are a couple of big name coaches who will be able to work a room as though it's a series of individuals, but on the whole, most of us, we need to connect with people on a one-to-one, and that's a much more positive way to get that two-way dialogue, to really connect with somebody, and for them to say things like, it's like you're in my head, or wow, you kind of it's like you heard a conversation I've already had. That's where you want to get to make that connection. And profiling the person is how you get to that point, so that when you have that conversation, when you're nudging them towards that sale, you're already in their head, because you've thought about what their concerns are. You've thought about the impact of those concerns on their life, and how you're going to be able to move them out of that and move them forward with it. So that is a whistle-stop tour of Ideal Client. It's a massive topic. And a really, really interesting one to really get to grips with, because that's where the power is. That's where your connection really lies, knowing who you're marketing to. The next one is your offer. So we're going to cover this in a lot more detail tomorrow, but you can see how they follow through, that you need to know your superpower, you need to know your ideal client, and then you need to create the offer that touches the issues of your ideal client, so that they know that you've thought about what their problems are and you found a way to help them. And a way to help them, let's be absolutely clear, that isn't massively complicated. So you might be the biggest expert in your superpower. You might know everything there is to know. You might be, super clued up. You might be qualified. You might have years of experience. They don't want to get to your point. They don't want complicated. They want it to be as simple as possible. So the offer that you create for them needs to solve their problem and solve it quickly and simply. So I'm going to leave that, because we're going to talk about the offer a little bit more tomorrow. And then the final one, it sort of relates back to your superpower, but it's again overlaying that with your client. It's knowing that you can help them. So there's a difference, and I've chosen those words really carefully. There's a difference between thinking you might be able to and knowing that you can help that client. When you step into that, I know I can help them, it sort of switches your, I want to sort of say switches your energy, it switches your demeanour, it switches your passion, and it comes across. You're not then, so when I take it back to my, when I did niche, when I finally niched and realised I couldn't help everybody, the first area I went into was confidence. So coaching women to become more confident in their lives. I wasn't specific. And I had got lots of things I'd written already. That's a whole different kettle of fish. I'd got courses, I'd got solutions, and I knew that I could take them through a process to help them feel more confident. However, the people that I was attracting towards me were on a really broad scale, so that they were, some of them, it was just sort of tweaks in their confidence. They were already sort of well on their way, and they felt like they were confident, but they wanted improvement. Other people had no confidence at all, to the point where they didn't want to leave the house on a morning. And actually, some of the things that I helped some with would have done it, and some people, the other things that would have helped some people. So I had, if you scale it on a 1 to 10, I was probably, I think I can help most by about a 6. I can give them some level of additional confidence. But I didn't know it, I didn't totally step. So when those people would come towards me, and I had a process where we would have a call, we would have a conversation, we'd explore whether or not it was right for both of us, and then I would sell what I offered on the call. And when it came to that point, I totally felt a bit like it probably will help them, but I'm not totally there. Now, for me, it is entirely transformed. So I know that based on both what I've created and what I've seen work for the clients that I've worked with. Emma, hi, lovely to see you. I know that it will help. It's not something that I wrote just that before I'd spoken to anyone. I evolved the programs, the challenges through actually delivering them. So it's grown into something which is going to hit the spot, and I can describe it. I expect to be talking to an ideal client, and then again it goes back to that. I know my superpower now, and if it is right for both of us, then we'll have that conversation. But if it isn't, I will also have that conversation to say, do you know what you need is not me. You probably need somebody like a life coach or somebody financial to mold your business, whatever it is that they've presented to me. I will be honest and tell them what my speciality is and what it also isn't. So knowing that you can help them, it sort of awards you quite a relaxed energy. So you can imagine going into that conversation now, I feel ready to help the person if they're right for me. That's it. And I know that if the person is right for me, it will work. I know that, and I can sit quite comfortably in that confidence. When I first started and I was having these conversations, I'd be always like, well, is this going to be it? Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Are they going to sign up? Are they not? And it was all very, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to help them, but I'll give it my best shot. And that's a totally different place to come from, as opposed to just saying, when it's right, and it'll come to me in the right time. So that's it's one that you can't sort of say to someone, well, you need to do this, this and this. It's not a practical one. And honestly, for me, that made a huge difference. But equally, I'm very practical. Well, tell me how to do this, give me a thing to follow and I'll follow the instructions. You can't do that with knowing your own knowing, because it's obviously internally generated. But that one is key for you. You've got to be in that superpower. You've got to know. So the final few things, and this is how I apply this to mine. You've got to do it regularly, because I don't know how many times it is now that people need to see you, be reminded of what you do, to see what your offer is. It's like loads, because a huge proportion of what you put out there isn't seen. Massive proportion. People scroll through it, they delete your emails, you don't even come up on their feeds, your posts on social media just kind of fall down the bottom and people miss it. So you have to do this regularly. It is no good almost saying, right, okay, so on Monday I'm going to sell because I've got this thing and it's amazing and I know I can help people and I've stepped into my superpower. I've done all that stuff that Sarah's just described. My ideal client will just know when they see this that it's perfect for them. You've done all that stuff and then you go, right, okay, so I'm going to sell it, and you do your thing, whatever your thing is, be it a live, be it sending out an offer, an email, using Instagram, whatever. You do your sale and you go, right, I'll just sit and wait for them to come in then. It's not like that anymore. You have to keep banging your drum. So it used to be 7 times. Someone needed to see something about your brand, about your offer 7 times before they made a buying decision. But that's probably outdated by 5 years, which means it's probably at least double that. So let's work on 15, minimum 15 times you've got to get your offer out there. Now, making an offer and pushing to the sale, and when I say to you, you've got to do it 15 times, you think, oh, geez, I can't do the same thing 15 times because people are just going to get bored. Well, we go back to the first point, they haven't seen almost half the stuff you did already, so they're not going to get bored. You're not repeating yourself. That's in your head. But also, get inventive, be creative, or do something different. There are loads of ways that you can use online to create that. Well, I've made the sale, I've made my offer. There's all the social media, there's the different platforms, there's using your your email. There's talking to somebody else about what you do and then adding the sale on. There's permitted promotion posts that a lot of groups have. You can pay for advertising, you know, whatever it is. There's loads of ways that you can take your message out there that you're actually still doing the sale. So you've got to do it regularly. One of my last couple of points. You can't be the best kept secret, because what's the point? You've effectively still enforced that hobby. You haven't got a business until you've got your clients. So you need to keep the sale routine going. You need to be making those offers to have a genuine business. And then the final one is and I've talked about this, I don't know how many times, goals. You need to set yourself a goal. And when you do that, you might have it in black and white that you want a certain number of clients in a certain time, that you want to have made a certain amount of money. Those goals, of course, relate, if you've done them as we've talked about earlier, they relate to your big vision. And when you get your big vision nailed, your goals fall off the bottom of that. So if you add a number to what it is you're looking to achieve, then ultimately, you know, remind yourself you're going for that big vision, you're going for that big, amazing thing that you've pictured. So it could feel that, you know, one day you think, oh God, I just haven't got the oomph to attempt to sell. But you're always working towards that goal and that ultimate position. So, you know, when you don't want to do it, you feel like you haven't got the energy, then remind yourself why it is you're doing it and how far you've come. Okay, so how long have I been talking for? Nearly half an hour, it's about right. So if there are any questions after you've watched this, please drop them in. I will look at the comments, I will reply to them and answer any questions you've got. We're going to do the offer tomorrow, so we'll go into quite a lot more depth about the elements to look at around creating your offer. So the last thing that I need to tell you and remind you, because this is what, my 5th time, maybe 6th time of telling you about it, I have opened the doors for registration for my next challenge. I'm going to do a separate live on this a little bit later, but suffice to say that it's growing, and every day I do some prep on it, and I sort of wish I was delivering it much sooner. So a week on Monday, the 15th of June, we are starting. It is 5 days of transformational content. Now, I don't say that because I've just given it a title. I'm saying it because of the journey that will go on during that 5 days. So if you're in a position where you're still working and you've just started your business and you're ready to take it properly to get going, so you want to take it from being a hobby to being something that's going to start genuinely getting some money in through the door, understanding how you can use that superpower, how you can find out what yours is if you're not even sure what it is right now. You're sat again, yeah, it's all very well, but I'm not Black Widow, am I? Knowing what your superpower is really key, so that you can absolutely exploit it. I love that word, exploit your own superpower. It's like squeezing every last bit of strength out of it. We're going to go through a process of understanding how to find your customers, because when you first start out, you know, the world is a big old place, and when you take it online, it's massive. You know, there's billions of people online every day. So you need to know how to find those customers, how to connect with them, and how to apply these things to be able to bring them in towards you. So every day we're going to pick a different topic. It's going to be really interactive. It's not just to sit and listen, it's answer the questions as we go, it's play your part. I did this back in May, and those that participated was a lovely group, and they interacted. They had interactions between themselves and supported one another. It was really nice community, and all of them said they got a huge amount of value from it. So it'll be a fab 5 days. It's going to be here in this group, but I say to register to make sure that you get the updates each day after we've gone live, in case you want to catch up on replay. You'll get the tasks, and you'll get all the information that we sort of summarise during the day over email as well. So there's definitely a benefit to registering. So the link I'll drop into the comments straight after we've finished. We're live, on the evenings. We're going to do them on an evening, because I'm just conscious that there is still quite a few people going back to work and got just kind of manic days. So hopefully by 8 p.m. you'll have chilled a little bit and you can sit and concentrate. So yeah, that's it from me for now. Go and have a fabulous Thursday, and I will see you all really soon. See you later. Bye.